Dashboard Confessional recently released their limited edition 10-year anniversary box set for their first album, The Swiss Army Romance. And to celebrate, lead vocalist, guitarist, and songwriter Chris Carrabba hit the road. He made a brief run of solo West Coast tour dates earlier this month, in which he played the album in its entirety. Carrabba, who initially formed Dashboard Confessional as a solo side project to write and record songs away from his band Further Seems Forever, found success as Dashboard that led to 3 gold albums and 2 albums that landed at number 2 on the Billboard Top 200 chart. Surprisingly, when Carrabba initially approached his band Further Seems Forever to record the same songs that made it onto the Swiss Army Romance, they turned him down, and they didn't think the music sounded right for the band. So Carrabba took the songs into the studio and made a solo album, which turned out to be the hit, The Swiss Army Romance. Artisan News caught up with Chris at a recent stop on his solo tour to discuss recording The Swiss Army Romance and why he felt so passionately about these songs that he had to record them, even if Further Seems Forever didn't want them.
You know, when I made the first record, The Swiss Army Romance, it was, they weren't really sessions. They were like stolen time in the studio. After hours, when my friend James, who had a studio in his apartment, a home studio, when he was free, he would let me come in, and in a weekend we did this Swiss Army record, which was essentially I think it was a warm-up exercise or something like that. I guess in my mind I thought I really want to do a full-length record, and I hadn't done one before, and the band I was in, Further Seems Forever, was really working very slowly, and I felt passionately about these songs I'd written, and they didn't want them. So I thought, maybe the right thing to do is just to make a record and kind of learn how to make a record.
He also talked about knowing at some point early on in the recording session that the record was something real.
But I really believed in the songs, and somewhere in the run-up, the week before, it had just occurred to me that that it was not an exercise, that this was something real, and that it wasn't about learning how to use microphones. It was time to put that aside and have that a goal for another time. But I remember the session as I planned it was a little bit of an academic thing, whereas when I got closer to it, I realized it was kismet or something. There was some passion there that I've never let go of.
Carrabba also talked about secretly wanting the band to say no to recording the songs so he could record them as Dashboard Confessional.
I remember that when I made what was the demo, or what would pass as a demo for the Swiss Army Romance, which in and of itself is just a guitar and a vocal, I just recorded it into a dictaphone, and I wanted to give it to James so he could live with the songs for a couple of days. And when I made that acoustic demo, it was a real definitive moment where I didn't know enough to consider being confident in the songs. They were songs that were turned down by my band, so already the idea of it had a mark against them. Secretly, I wanted them to turn it down. I knew they were meant to be presented differently than what Further would have done.
As of press time, Chris doesn't know when he'll get into the studio to record another album, which will be the follow-up to 2009's After the Ending, which landed at number 19 on the Billboard Top 200 chart. Carrabba has been devoting a lot of time to his reunion with Further Seems Forever. Having not performed with them since 2001, he said the band has booked a few tour dates in 2011, culminating with an April festival date in Belgium, where both Further Seems Forever and Dashboard Confessional are scheduled to perform. Dashboard Confessional and Further Seems Forever will also be performing on separate stages at the Bamboozle Festival. Dashboard performs on April 30th, and Further Seems Forever takes the stage on May 1st. The Bamboozle will take place at New Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and will also feature sets from Motley Crue, Insane Clown Posse, Newfound Glory, Taking Back Sunday, and Lil Wayne, to name a few.